From Wakefield, it's the season 2 premiere of the Ice-T meme show starring No Dog, inviting you to join No Dog and his guest this week, Jenna Clarke, to the show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's No Dog.
Hey everyone, before we begin this week's episode, and I had already made a video about this last weekend. I never got around to doing it, typical No Dog fashion. Anyways, what I wanted to, and I'll spend a few seconds because if I go on if I go on for a significant time, it takes storage away from the actual video, which is most important. Hopefully you'll watch this whole thing. Last week was kind of a blunder with the number of views I got. I thought I was going to get more. Anyways, regardless, what I want to say now that it's season 2, I want to look back and this isn't from notes or anything like that. This is honest genuineness, deep from the heart. I tried stuff like this many times before, creating my own websites and this and that and blog and all that grand stuff and trying to create a podcast. And when I did do it, it was called Chewing the Breeze with the big guy, wherever the heck it was, and it was entertaining. I created my own free graphic and stuff, and I was putting it on, I think, just YouTube, and it was interesting. And then all of a sudden, I just started getting tired and bored and burned out because I was just doing it every single day, and there was nothing significant about what I was doing. It was just me talking by myself. I was using, I believe, GarageBand to edit it or whatever it was, and I didn't I wasn't enjoying it because I was covering sports and talking about sports and whatnot, and that was great for an hour and a half. But it was just getting tiresome and boring, and I just stopped, and I hadn't done it since then. And I kept wanting to do it again because doing something like that and this is very interesting and enjoyable and a different thing. But I didn't have any equipment. I didn't have any lights, or I didn't have any green screen or microphone stand, as you can see right here, or any of that great stuff. Or headphones. I didn't have any of that. I didn't have a gimmick either, like I do. And then once COVID started, and I was bored, and I was just sitting here. It was December, so the COVID had been going on for a while. To be honest, it had been going on for probably 6 months, right? March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 10 months, right? Yeah. No, I don't know. Regardless, it'd been going on for a while, and I'd wasted up time. I had school and whatnot. Whoopsies, I just hit my mic. But I had school, and then I was done. I had summer camp that I work at, and then it was back to school again, and it was the same process. And I wasn't bored, but I was like, what I should do something, because people were doing stuff during COVID, learning new stuff, hobbies and traits and whatnot. And I said, fuck it, I'll do it. I mean, I have time. I'll be at home a lot. I mean, granted, I'm sure I'd have to go on campus for a few classes, maybe. But I just said, screw it, fuck it, why not? I'll do this. And I started doing it. I planned out. And, it's similar to the other one, except the fact this one, obviously, I have guests on. And I've had guests on 15 weeks of season 1. And we talk about stuff. And since COVID's going on, it's the only real thing going on. We talk about a portion of the show where how COVID's affected their life and their stance on it and so on and so forth. And we talk about personal stuff when we show videos. It's been the greatest thing ever. And, I want to thank everyone, which is the basis of this little clip. I want to thank everyone who's, been there from the beginning. There's been a handful of people, a dear friend of mine, all people who've been on the show: Michael Sangiuliano, Jeff Alves, Nick Ambrosia, the guests for today, Jenna Clarke, a friend of mine, Rob Cruz, Ryan Sweet, Drew Pizzulo. They've all been, and I'm sure there's other people I have missed, but those 7 people were supporters from day one doing this. And, I always want to do something that, furthers my brand, my personal brand, I guess, if that's what you could say. And they've been supporters from day one. And yeah, sure, they might not have seen every episode, listened to every episode since then, but they've been big supporters. And, I want to thank everyone who's, subscribed to the YouTube channel. I know there's only 8 subs, and, that may not seem a lot to other people. And it is, and it's a small amount, but who cares? Because those 8 people found this interesting enough to subscribe to. Jason Yang was another one, the guy who always tries to put it out there for people to view, which I appreciate greatly. But the people who have subscribed, it means that they really enjoy what they're watching and find interesting enough to invest into it. And I thank everyone who's viewed the podcast or listened to it from day one, for everyone who's joined along the way. And if this is your first episode, I thank you tremendously, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you leave a like and follow the podcast or subscribe to it wherever you're streaming it. And it's been a real dream. And the guests have come on. Yeah, a few of them have come on twice because a few people couldn't come on. We have to scramble last minute. But to everyone who's come on: Michael Sangiuliano, Jeff Alves, Nick Ambrosia, Ryan Sweet, Rob Cruz, Matthew Berian, Brennan Doherty, Stone Freeman, Drew Pizzulo, Hosam Zaki. Um, but I think then a handful of those guys have come on twice. Um, them to take the day out of that out of their day to come on and join it means a great deal. And every single one of them has said, "Yep, I'll definitely do it. No worries." That means a great deal because they don't have to do it. I mean, it's not like I'm some celebrity that has extreme clout and can get all these big guests, or they don't have to come out there or whatever it may be. They don't have to come out, and they decide to. And that means a great deal to myself as I'm seeing the reflection of the windows in front of me. But it means a great deal to those who have said, yeah, we're going to come on and we're going to do this. And that just, it means a great deal. And I can't begin to express the love and appreciation I have sincerely from the depths of my deepest crevice in my heart for them to immediately jump up. And yeah, some have had to, we've had to do a day later or whatever it may be because schedules don't work out the day, but it just means a lot. And I really enjoy this. And yeah, it might not be the most exciting thing to some. It might not be the most entertaining or informative, but I really enjoy doing it. And yeah, I would love to be, trending or, be very successful right away. Everyone would. And I truly do mean that. I wish it was that case, but it's not. And you just got to keep grinding. And, this season too, I'm going to, have a handful of guests, the same guest on similar ones, but there's gonna be some new ones that are supposed to come on season one but couldn't, and then I'm gonna have new ones as well, and it's gonna be great, and it's gonna be the same thing, and then hopefully at the end of season two, if I still enjoy doing it a year later almost, um I'm gonna have bigger guests on celebrities, and it's got obviously I'm not gonna have big time ones on right away. It's not gonna be possible, but build it up slowly. And obviously, I don't want to say they're not celebrities, but smaller name guys who maybe once were super famous and now they're a little less, and then or popular within certain fan groups, and then build up eventually have big name guys that I've always wanted to talk to, but never had the chance because either they don't do that type of thing or they're not in my area, so they're not performing there frequently. So it'll be interesting. But no, I sincerely want to thank everyone who's joined along the way, who's been there from the beginning, who's just now joining, who's subscribed, followed the podcast, who shared it, who's talked about it, who's followed the social media accounts. Make sure you follow those as well. They'll be in the bio as well, the video. But I can't begin to thank everyone. I'm looking forward to season two, and I'll catch you all later and enjoy this week's episode with Jenna Clarke as my guest of the season two premiere episode of the Ice Team Meme Show. And welcome back for another edition of what I like to call on my show, What Happened This Past Week with Nolan Dog, where I like to talk about what shit happened in the news this past fucking week. It can be sports, it can be entertainment, it can be just general news, it can be politics, it can be anything. And I try to explain and make jokes about the best way I can. As I always say, let's get right to the segment. First in the news, and some interesting political news, both Puerto Rico and the country's capital, Washington, D.C., are being talked about in the House of Representatives in regards to becoming official states. I think the last thing on Puerto Rico's mind is becoming an official state. I think what they want is power. The entire country has been out of power longer than the Republican Senate pushed the Trump Supreme Court justices. According to the lunatic himself, Mike CEO Mike Lindell is creating his own social media platform built on freedom of speech in 2 weeks. Yeah, well, just like releasing his evidence on election fraud in 2 weeks' time, he's got, as the Jewish community say, bupkis. Mike Lindell should work on his next pharmacy stock product instead of doing some part-time coding to create the Godfather 3 of Parler. And some other political news, it was an exciting day for the Donald, as he also was announcing that he would be creating his own social media platform in 2 to 3 months, according to his director of communications. This is right after he announces his infrastructure and healthcare plan. Trump can't complete or say coherent and flowing sentence, never mind starting a social media company. And some not so surprising political news, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has been found to have used $40,000 to fund expensive dinners. Mike Pompeo just gives me those vibes of the dad who coaches their son's sports team and says is fair to everyone, then curses them out during the game. It's been a busy week of upsets during this year's March Madness tournament. I haven't seen this many upsets since the Georgia Senate race this past election. March Madness is known for brackets being busted early on, but no one could have expected that after the first day, only 0.43% of brackets were left perfect after Oral Roberts defeated Ohio State. There's a better chance of getting into Harvard with C grades than there is of having a perfect bracket after one day. The new AstraZeneca vaccine joins the family of COVID vaccines, as this newest one has been found to be 79% effective, U.S. data has shown. At this rate, the people still partying in Miami Beach will be able to put down their drinks, get one of the 50,000 shots, then go back to crowding the streets. There's so many vaccines you could field a kids' youth soccer team. said butcher it. And some interesting news: the SCOTUS is going to consider reinstating the Zorkin Zarnev's death sentence, according to the Boston Globe. For a quick second, I completely forgot him, but like Rudy Giuliani, it was fun to away back in the spotlight. And some melancholy sports news: the sports world has been paying tribute to legendary professional bowler Pete Weber as he announced his retirement from bowling a week earlier. Weber is known for yelling, "Who's the man? I'm the man," during a match, which is also what men have been saying to themselves as they are about to do with their wives across the country since the dawn of time. Some sad news: the Texas Roadhouse CEO has died by suicide while battling, quote, unbearable post-COVID symptoms, his family says. Great, now who's going to lead the company to have great dinner rolls yet again? Former President Donald J. Trump has listed his potential successors as possible nominations for the Republican ticket for the 2024 presidential election if, keywords if, he were to not run again. Trump listed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, and current nominee for the governor of Arkansas on the Republican side, and former member of Trump group Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Damn, I haven't seen this big of a group of losers since the people who stormed the Capitol building a few months ago. That's a big roast. In some satirical news, Biden was caught in what the cool kids say, 4K, ka-chink, ka-chink, as he tripped up the stairs to Air Force One. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in a matter of seconds. That former President Ford is looking down from everyone right now, giving him his seal of approval. Actually, I shouldn't do that. I should do this. The other one's bad. As of late last week, around his 58th day, President Biden has officially surpassed his 100 million vaccination rollout plan much earlier than his 100th day. After hearing that accomplished shatter, everyone at Fox News is currently more enraged than millionaire Democrats tweeting about a fair minimum wage for other people. It's being reported in the business world that the tech giant Microsoft is in talks to acquire the video game chat application Discord for more than $10 billion. Microsoft is just like Disney. They want to fuck over everyone in the business and own practically everything they can get their hands on. Boom. That's what happened this past week with Nolan Dog. Stay with us as we be right back with the program and our guest this week, Miss Jenna Clarke. I'll see you soon. As the red dot on my computer means go and the date reads Wednesday, the 24th of March, 2021, that means we're back for another edition of this program, the IC and Meme Show. I want to thank all of those out there who have watched the show or listened, or have done both during the first season. Today's episode is a special one, and this is a season 2, episode 1 premiere of this program. Before I continue with my pomp and circumstance of a speech, I don't want to forget to mention, if you like what you see or hear today, do everyone here at ITM Studios a huge favor by subscribing, following the podcast, smash that like button, click that bell notification button on, and the most important part, click the share arrow so you can let all your friends and family know what the fuck is going on here. Because let's be honest, whether this show is famous around the world or just a dinky little podcast, no one will want to miss out on all this amazing shit offered here on the IC Meme Show with yours truly, Noel Dog. With me on today's program as my very first guest of this season is a very good friend who has a near and dear place in my heart. It's the incomparable, the sweet and little Jenna Clarke. Miss Jenna, thank you for taking time out of the show today. It means a great deal to help me out.
Thank you for having me, Nolan.
Oh, of course. I mean, I obviously wanted to, it would have been great to have you last season, but I thought no one better to premiere the new season of the show. So I'm just extremely thankful that although we may be busy, although COVID is going on, for you to immediately jump up on the offer and say yes, I can do it. It means a great deal. So
means a lot to be invited.
No, yes, of course, and obviously, with you being here is going to raise the cloud of the show. So I mean, why wouldn't
everyone knows Jenna Clarke.
Yes, everyone knows it, not just that you or I are in the Greek life community, but in general. Anyways, we have been, obviously, we stay in touch. As I said, we're dear friends and whatnot. But what's life been like for you during this second wave of the pandemic? Has it differed from the first wave?
I have one class in person, which is kind of nice. Like we're talking about like last year versus this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like obviously it's a lot different because we didn't know what was going on this time last year. It was just kind of a big panic, like buy out all the grocery stores, stock up toilet paper. But now everything's kind of more relaxed. I did get contact traced today though. So that's very unfortunate. I will be in this room for a long period of time. Yeah.
So it's a 180-degree flip for you then, compared to last time.
Really annoying because I had COVID in December. So my auntie well, I want to get tested and see if I still have antibodies, but my 90 days is just up. Like I missed it by a week. Which I feel like I still do because it's not like these antibodies have a timer on them that says 90 days, we gotta explode. Hopefully I'm fine though.
Yeah, hopefully. You're obviously you're not a native around there. You're a New Yorker through and through. Compared to Rhode Island, what's it like back home during both waves of the pandemic?
Last year it was like, I'm pretty sure it was universal. Everyone was just like in shock, didn't know what to happen in the first couple months. But as like summer started, the end of spring, things kind of started to open up. I went for a lot of walks. My friend and I went for a walk every single day on this beautiful trail, which was really nice to just get fresh air and some human interaction. It was like no one really knew what to do. Everyone was keeping their distance, wearing masks. And then over the summer, things were open again. My job at a swimming pool was open, which was just a shit show. But we made it through the summer strong. But right now, honestly, like where I'm from in New York, like not the city, but things are normal, like normal. Like I went to a bowling alley the other day. I didn't know that was allowed.
No, it's definitely wild, and I think definitely places like that, and you see like in Miami Beach right now where people are disregarding the curfew and all that stuff is kind of silly, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I think it's selfish. If you're going away right now and you're not vaccinated, it's pretty damn selfish.
Definitely.
Unless I understand the people who go away or they quarantine for 2 weeks, then go away and then quarantine for another 2 weeks. But who has that much time in their life to quarantine for 4 weeks straight?
Yeah.
So I know the majority of people are not doing that, and that's why it's selfish.
No, it's sad, and we discuss a little bit later, but it's sad at places like New York or Miami or any other place that just has a total disregard, even at this point too, have no care about the global population during this pandemic rather than just caring about themselves and feeling as though this is fake. But being a member of the Greek life here at URI, the wonderful Greek life, I guess you could say, and URI in specific, I guess, how do you think the URI has handled this pandemic, seeing as, you know?
I feel like there's not much they can do. I guess they're doing the best they can. Proud to say my chapter is one of the few that has not had to do shelter in place or quarantine. Everyone is just kind of like every week they drilled into our heads, get tested, don't go to parties. Parties are not a thing. Just be a good person. I mean, I think URI as a whole, they're kind of doing the best they can. I don't really know what I would suggest they do.
Yeah.
I feel like some things are just silly. The fact that they're writing people up for having 3 people in a room rather than 2 when these people are clearly all hanging out with each other in different places. Like I guess they're trying to enforce things, but I don't think there's any really good way to do it.
Well, you can only do your best. I mean, it's not like, I mean, URI has had issues with the pandemic, and they're with also Greek life having a portion of the cases and stuff going up, but you can only do so much. I mean, URI is doing, like you said, doing the best they can, like anyone else is doing that's trying to combat this, because obviously you want to be back in person. It's unfortunate that, you know, a lot of stuff has happened because of it, and all the rules and regulations that they've had to do, and it's affected it. It's which is also unfortunate about this is that it's turned to a pretty big global, you know, political movement and point in society, and it was a major part of the election stuff. And how could it not? But why do you think people, even regardless from the beginning or till now, over a year later, have such a huge problem with grasping the concept of the severity of this as cases rise again?
Nothing frustrates me more than when people mix politics and COVID. Human health is not a political issue, point blank, period. We're trying to save lives. We're trying to keep people healthy.
Yeah.
I get it. People like us, we're young. Oh, I got COVID. It doesn't matter. Like I wasn't sick. Okay, but what happens when you bring it home to your grandmother and she dies from it?
Yeah.
Like that's what people are not grasping. I get things are getting better now because people are getting vaccinated, but something else that bothers me is people who are like, this vaccine is too new.
Yeah.
There's been research, like there's been things proven that this vaccine has been in production since the first outbreak of SARS in the early 2000s. So that's almost 20 years. It's not that new. And then the people who get mad that you need to have this vaccine to go to certain countries, you needed that prior for like measles or mumps, rubella.
Oh,
You
of course,
needed certain vaccines. And like the same thing for school. You couldn't go into a public elementary school unless you had all certain vaccines. It's not new.
Well, it's like I think it is when you go to like Africa, where I think Zika, not Zika, but whatever it is, when bugs and stuff, when you get whatever it is, you have to get certain shots, and it's just it's sad and pathetic because people are like, oh yeah, I don't need to take this in the vaccine stuff and whatever, and then some people say, oh, autism, is something they get from
vaccines do not cause autism. It's something someone is born with.
Oh no, yeah, and I'm sure there definitely have been like negative effects that have come certain cases from taking a vaccine. Maybe rarely.
Any vaccine.
Oh no, yeah. There's definitely like a rarity when that happens, but it's not the whole thing. And then I what I hate and don't understand is, well, I can't wear a fucking mask because I'm allergic and I have this thing where it was, I don't know, like people are dying. Okay, what is this?
2 months, I've been going to the gym every single day for at least an hour, and I've worn a mask that entire time doing like high intensity workouts. Yeah. It's not that bad. The entire summer I wore a mask for 10 hours straight at my job.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that bad.
No, yeah, that's with it's like with me and club tennis, we always have to wear a mask, and although it's hard to understand what they're saying, sometimes I have to lift it a little farther to speak. And summer can't have to wear it every day, and there are a lot of parents who would come up and like, oh, I forgot a mask, or can my child not wear one as they go sign them. I'm like, no, they gotta wear them.
Wear mask.
Even
they
though
can stand in the corner and have a mask break, but they gotta wear it.
You can go stand in the corner and go off on yourself, but like it's ridiculous that there are some people, and I'm not saying South County is all fucking alt-right and doesn't believe in it, but it's that there are a lot of people. There's a lot of people I think that go to your ride that have an issue with this still and seem to not want to grasp. And there's also people across the country I think that make it into a political movement is ridiculous, and there's just was so much that could have been prevented that could have stopped this early on, but we don't. It's just it's sad, and I wonder if this would have happened if Hillary would have been elected in 2016, if she was elected, there would have been this much controversy during hers, and if they would have, which they probably would have.
There would be controversy from either side, no matter what.
Yeah, it's just to turn what happened into something that it shouldn't have been is ridiculous, and it was poor on that party side, one party side, to just disregard it and constantly have stuff, and it was ridiculous. But whatever though. Obviously, you've had it, so you have to have some sort of belief in the science and all that stuff about this and the vaccinations. With all these vaccinations, I should say. Half a, speaking. All these vaccines are now coming out. They had whatever the newest one was recently that was 79% effective, and they have the other 4. What are your thoughts on all them getting all different versions of the vaccine out this fast? I'm curious.
I think in some sense it's definitely a moneymaker. Like whatever pharmaceutical company can jump on this. Well, big pharma is just a scam in general. Don't get me started on that. But it's definitely, they're trying to make money off of, they know it's a popular thing right now. They know millions of people are trying to get it. Anyone who is eligible for the most part is getting it. I think it's good that there's more options, but like, not to sound like an anti-vaxxer, because I'm not, but I think that it's kind of scary how fast the news are coming out. I think like stick with the formula. I don't know why there has to be different formulas from different companies. Like, why can't different companies produce the same thing?
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah. It's and it's definitely great because it definitely gives the opportunity to get more vaccines out now that also, Joe Biden has surpassed the 100 million mark very fast. I'm just worried that, they're pushing out so fast that it's not 90+% effective. It's more, below 80%. And that's kind of rough because you obviously, science doesn't lie, and you don't want to, rush something, and it causes serious effects biologically on people. But I think it definitely helps, curving it and, getting people out.
I just think everyone should do their part now, and then hopefully by the end of the year, everyone who wants to be vaccinated will be vaccinated, and this world will be a much better place, and things can be normal then. If a year from now, it means I have to wear a mask to go to a concert, by all means, I'm in there.
Yes.
I'll wear a mask for the rest of my life. I don't care.
Yes, I don't know if I could do the rest of my life, but I could do maybe half a year. But if I, hopefully though, if because I was going to be going, and we can talk about him later. With my dear pal Michael, I was supposed to be going to Billy Joel. I was going to take him because I had an extra ticket, and that got canceled and postponed and canceled, and then I was supposed to go to Kiss. So hopefully by the fall or next summer, I won't have to be wearing a mask to go see it. But prior to, speaking of life after this, prior to COVID, what was life like for you before this? Was there anything fun planned that you were gonna do, and then it got postponed, obviously, because of COVID?
Honestly, I didn't really have that many big plans. I was just planning on having like a good summer, a good college experience. I was supposed to go to a Justin Bieber concert last year. It's supposed to, well, I'd never bought the tickets, but I knew it was going to go. It's supposed to be postponed to this year. I love that man with all of my being. So hopefully that'll happen sometime soon. I just love just social interaction.
Oh yes.
I just love being in large crowds. Like a lot of people don't, but I love being in large crowds because I feel like if it's like me in a small group who all knows each other, I can't infiltrate that and I can't like make friends in that. But if it's a big crowd and like no one really knows each other, I can make friends like that.
I would have to say, and I think you can definitely agree with it, that I am the complete opposite. Although interactions with a lot of people makes me feel more not as worried. I think if I have a small group of people that I know, I can vibe more better and feel more comfortable. But no, I was supposed to see, like I said, Billy Joel, and that right at Fenway, right in the on the field, and that got postponed, and hopefully they'll be on again. But it sucks. What did I have? I was in Las Vegas for club tennis, but that wasn't nothing.
Oh, that
else.
Was right at the beginning. I remember that.
Right at the beginning, right? I remember we got there on a Sunday and we hung out, I should say, proper English, the first few days. And then Wednesday we got there and nah, fuck you. It's canceled. And that was great. And then there ended up being a handful of teams still there. But no, it was definitely weird because no one at the airports or anywhere else were wearing stuff. I mean, a certain community.
That period of time where they were saying save all the masks for healthcare workers because they were just so hard to come by.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not gonna play the race card or anything. I don't want to come off like that. But there's a certain ethnicity, I should say, that wears masks at airports, and that was the only group of people that I was seeing wear them, and no one else was wearing them in general. It was just like, oh, what's going on here? We got nothing to worry about, really.
Well, for years, there's been some people who just wear masks every time they're in public.
Yeah. No, I never did because I never was worried. And then hospital people working there were starting with it. Really popped off like right when we got back is when everything was starting to school was being put off for a week and a half, and it was interesting. It's just it's amazing in a sad way that how like enormous this has turned into and how sad this is and it also is sad the fact that the places that had it worse, just like us, New Zealand, Australia, now can have raves and big concerts. And I saw one and it looked like they had hundreds of thousands of people at the concert. It's sad that now we can't do this and we have to have shows at home or whatever it may be. But
which I think is a scam to have to pay for things to watch on my laptop. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's fun, like charity, but like when it's someone just making money off of it, no.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch an at-home concert, and I think it's sad that places, things like the award shows or anything else like that, or TV shows have to be put off because one, that people losing jobs, which is unfortunate nowadays with the pandemic. But hopefully this ends soon, and hopefully people will get all shots and vaccine and believe in it. And I'm looking forward to May when people over the age of 18 can get. It'll be a great birthday gift. But in this segment, you are the first person of season 2 to react to these. Each episode I show videos. I tried my best to have new ones for this season, but I added a few ones from the other ones that now, as the first female to be on the show ever.
I'm honored.
I'll get your opinion on some of these things that I had many men show their viewpoint to. But let's share the screen. I'll ask for just give me a thumbs up when you hear the sound of the video. So this guy's name is Joe, and he does like construction and handyman work. And he was working at the gym, and he saw this attractive girl, and he wanted to go on a date with her. So he found out who she was through the sign-in sheet, and he met her. And I'll share the rest afterwards. This is his video.
Good morning, Julia. It's me, Joe. Just wanted to say hi. Wish you a great day. Tell you that meeting you yesterday and getting a look at you was probably one of the greatest moments of my life. You were so beautiful. You don't know how beautiful you are to me. I mean, just, you're gorgeous. You're precious. And but it's been sitting in my mind when you said to me you want to go back with your ex-boyfriend. Please erase him from your memory. Don't ever go back in the past. I know, because I've been there. And I understand when, you know, you're trying to find somebody and you go on dates and nothing compares to your ex. But there is that better person out there. And Julia, I promise you it is me. I will love you like you've never been loved before. I will cherish you. I'll make you feel like a woman, a real woman. And believe me, after you experience me, you won't even know who your ex-boyfriend is. So, open up your heart to me in your arms. Let's go full throttle. I could see me falling in love with you. I don't know, I just looked in your eyes and I just melt. Anyhow, I'm heading off to work. This is my cute little home. Everything you see behind me, I built everything. Every square inch, from crown molding to chair rail to floors to lighting to plumbing, doors, windows. So this is the type of guy you're getting. I'm a very handy guy, and I'd love to build you whatever you want. You're a sweetheart. So I hope this video doesn't scare you, but that's how I feel. I just want you to know that.
Here it comes.
Okay? And I look forward going out
Icing
to
on the
dinner
cake.
with you. So let's make it happen. Mwah. Ciao,
Ugh.
baby.
So, like I said, his name is Joe. I don't know what his last name is. Probably in his late 40s, maybe early 50s at the most. Maybe late, I don't know. Anyways, he was working at this gym and he sees this girl. He pays so much attention to who she is that he finds out her name on the sign-in sheet. He goes outside and says, "Hey, I think you're attractive. You're a pretty looking lady. Nothing wrong with that." He says, "I'd like to take you out on a date." She says, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking getting back with my ex. I'm not sure." He goes, "Oh, don't do that. Come on, please." And she's like, "Okay, whatever." He's like, "Can I have your number?" She's like, how about you put yours into my phone?" He types the his phone number into her contact section, I think it is, or the phone thing. He presses the phone logo thing. It calls the phone.
So he gets her number.
Yeah, so he gets his number and ends the phone. So now he has it and he sends her this video. He texts her this video. And now obviously, you know, I joke a lot. I thought at the beginning it was not that bad. He was commenting how pretty she was and how it was great meeting her. And then it takes a big dive off the deep end and really goes from there. Now, from the perspective of a lady who is
I think it was absolutely fucking disgusting. It made me very uncomfortable. And if someone ever sent me a video like that, who I met at the gym one time, I would get a restraining order on them like that. That's disgusting, and no woman should be treated that way. I get you want to compliment women, we're pretty, whatever. I don't need to know that you built your house from the square, the bottom floor up, because I know you didn't. You definitely did not. You just want to make it seem like you got a big dick. You're lying. It's disgusting. Men are gross.
You weren't intrigued by the not one, not two, but 3 ceiling fans he had on his first floor?
No, not at all.
Well, funny thing is,
and it was way too long.
It was way too long, the video?
Yeah.
2 minutes. Well, you think that was weird. How about this one? Because he sent her another video.
Oh my God.
The next day.
Just want to say good morning, Julia, my flower, my precious, my soon-to-be, my everything. Have a great day, love. Mwah.
He sent her that the next day. Then she got rid of him, and then I guess because then so I should preface this. I watch a podcast, listen to it called Your Mom's House with this comedian couple, Tom Segura and Christina Pazynski, and they play stuff like this, really weird and uncomfortable stuff. And they interviewed the real Julia, And she said all this stuff, and she was like, oh, well, I got this video. And then I was like, oh, I gotta show, because she was living with a few roommates, and she's like, hey, girls, come over, let me show you this. And they showed it to her, and she's like, you can't do anything about this. They then put it out on the internet, and this is how it all happened. And now it's become a meme. But this one is completely more uncomfortable than the first one almost. And he's delusional. And the comical thing about it, to me personally, is that he thinks this is perfectly normal.
Mhm.
Now, me personally, I'm not dating anyone, haven't had much success with obtaining that. You going out with my dear friend Michael, if he sent you this, what would have happened? And is this something that he would have done?
Well, this is 100% something he would not have done. And if he did send me something like this, I know it would have been a joke. But if someone else like sent me something like this, like seriously, I would block them and say, get the fuck out of my life. That's disgusting and you're weird.
You wouldn't want this sent to you?
No.
Okay, so as I do with all my guests, when I play a video with someone in there, or there's multiple people in there, Miss Jenna Clarke, on a scale of 1 to 10, on the cool guy scale, 1 being not cool, 10 being the coolest of guys, where do you rank him?
2.
A 2, wow.
Because he's got the confidence. He has some confidence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got some big balls. A guy who had last week gave him a 0.5. But no, that's that. Let's play this next video.
Na elfie to nie ma mowy, zamykanie drzwi, rozruch, to wszystko panowie to nic nie... Co tu nie ma? No skąd tam? Nie tam kurwa w lesie, bo zaraz wylezie jak mi jeleń. No kurwa, no skajcie. Dobra tam, chuj z kacznikiem tam.
Come on.
O, kurwa! O cię pierdolę.
So I'm guessing that's in Russia or Germany or some European country. But yeah, I found that on somewhere and I thought it was hysterical. It got me at first. I had a jump scare, I had to admit, but it was surely interesting.
I feel like I would have been jump scared if I didn't see the title.
Yeah.
But that's disgusting. That poor deer. But
yes,
the street that I live next to, there's so many deer. Knock on wood, I've never come close to hitting one, but all my friends have. Like Michael almost has hit one. It's scary.
It is terrifying.
They just stop in front of the vehicle. They don't care. They know they're gonna die.
It's let's go to this one right here. Oh wait, shoot.
Hey,
oh
Twitter
shit,
world,
no, sorry,
it's
whoopsies.
me, OJ.
No, it's OJ Mahomes. Shoot, can't play him. My bad. OJ Mahomes. This was oh fucking ad.
Ideas come to
us. Next video
maybe not yet.
Was in the news recently with our current president. You may have heard about it. A great meme. Although I am not a Republican, so I don't watch Fox News and stuff like that, and being as a sort of a Democrat, if you could say that, I thought this was hysterical from whatever standpoint. Definitely one side of the line, as you want to call it, definitely had a field day with this. The former president, his oldest son, edited a video where his father, DJT Sr., was hitting golf balls and they were pretending to hit Biden over. I thought this was hysterical, and it was definitely something. I think the former president, Gerald Ford, who was after Nixon, was known for falling over and having a lot of mishaps, and I thought he was giving a seal of approval from heaven. But I thought this was a very comical moment, and it even shows further why Mr. Joseph Robinette Biden is human.
I think it's funny. A video of anyone falling is funny as long as they're not seriously hurt. I've fallen up and down the stairs like that many a time.
Oh yes, I've fallen up the steps. I've fallen down the steps. Last week I was at my father's house and I was walking down too fast and I slid down the steps and I didn't fall. I was standing up straight and I went down about the entire staircase of carpet. But no, I mean, you got to be careful though with Joe, because he is nearly
So
80.
fragile. Yeah.
Yes, but to fall, I can understand once, maybe tripping up on yourself, but falling twice within 10 seconds is definitely scary. I read some good news that both his dogs are back at the White House after biting that security guy. Here's another.
Oh, I thought one of them had moved back to Scranton.
Oh, I know that because I think both had been sent back after he got bit. The security guy got bit, but I guess they're back.
Oh, good.
Here's a great video. He was ripping that jewel as I believe some people we know do. Sean Hannity, I mean, I'm sure we both share the same sentiment for him. I would give him a 0 out of 10 on the cool guy scale. I think he's a scumbag and a fraud. I think he produces and proclaims and puts out a lot of these false claims and ridiculous bullshit that they say from Trump and his administration, and it was pretty meme-worthy event by him. But back,
no matter who it is, I think it's just funny how quickly he.
Oh yeah. Someone is people who act like, oh, they're great and all their Christian values and all that bullshit, and then they're smoking a jewel. Anyways, here's another great video.
There's more.
Oh yes, there's a few more. This next one is interesting. It's more interesting than the last few that were a little dull. But here you go. Enjoy the POV.
Time to wake up, my queen. Come on, my queen above 18. Open them beautiful eyes. There you go. You are so beautiful. I just love my queen above 18. Well, good morning. All right, my queen. I'll go down and put your breakfast on. I'll get you some nice hot cup of coffee. You go take your shower, and I'll meet you in the kitchen. I love you too, my queen above 18. I will see you in a little bit. Yes, you look beautiful. All right, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay.
I have seen that on TikTok.
Yes.
When it first came out.
Yes, Steve. His name is Steve. No, not Steve. Fuck, why am I forgetting what it is? Or no, maybe it's Steve. Anyways, regardless, this is the king. I found him through the podcast I watch on YouTube, Your Mom's House, and he's a truck driver in Ohio, the Ohio area, and he drives all around. And his thing on TikTok, and he's got someone who follow me, is wishing kings and queens, but predominantly queens above 18, a great day and gives them motivation.
I think it's funny how he has to specify above 18.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't want to catch case.
Well, no, because I think, and they said this on the podcast, they believe that he got in trouble before with people. He might have gotten in trouble before with people who pretended to be 18, but they weren't. And he's like, oh, they have to be 18. And
above 18.
Yes. And the weird thing was, I didn't see it at first when it first came out, because I didn't get on TikTok till a little later on the show, or on the game, I should say. And on the show, they were playing his first stuff, and it was like, good morning, let me see them titties hang, let me see them boobies hang. It's like, nice shirt, what t-shirt contest? And
I feel like this one is a little more PG. I don't think it's like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. It's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yes.
But if this is what brings him comfort because he doesn't have a real queen above 18, then so be it. He's not directing it at anyone. He's not harassing anyone. His followers might like this. You've seen some of those ladies on TikTok who duet those men. They're weird filters.
Yes. No, he's definitely he's a weird guy, and like it just was getting really weird because then he'd ask like on his TikToks, oh, Snapchat me videos of you at your party, so you're having fun and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know about that. That seems a little bit odd. And he's like, and then he gives shout outs too. At first it was just like a shout out for free. Then he's charging between $5 and $15 depending on what version of a shout out you want. He's also got merch. You go onto his Venmo and also his Cash App, and you pay him, and then you go onto his Google link where you choose what you want and how much of it you want, and your information, your your credit card information, your size, your address, your name, your social security, some blood, some no, not blood, but not
Hair.
social security, but yeah, hair and everything else, and your perfume.
Yep.
And it's tank tops, sweatshirts, hats, sweatpants, mugs, and it also says K and Q on it for kings and queens above 18. But I had a interaction with him. Someone had created a video, or he had put a video out there, and someone commented, this makes me feel uncomfortable with those like the little like star sparkle emojis. And then he did that video where you can react to a comment in the video. He goes, what does this mean by uncomfy? What is this person saying? And I commented simply, uncomfy means when the 60-plus-year-old man is asking girls of legal age to send weird or gross lewd videos and photos to a man like that. That's what creepy means. And then he does a video reacting to that comment. He goes, "Oh, this person's saying I got this on my mind, and he's saying I got pornography and then the pedophilia and all this stuff. And he get the fuck out of here."
Boy.
And he would get into arguments with fans, and he would say, follow this person, get on their page and cancel them and report them and all this stuff. And he's a wild man. He's done some videos on there. I don't know if you've seen him, where I guess fans have met up with him. Women who are like 4s and 5s. And
well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. And they all look like they're suffering from a few things. And it's not like, oh, hey, let me meet up with this guy, Al Jardine from the Beach Boys. Oh, let's take a picture. Not, we're all happy and stuff. They look like, help me, get me out of here. They were like, and like he's like, follow this person, so and so want to meet up with me. And he took one girl on a ride on the motorcycle because the girl wanted to ride on his motorcycle with him.
Ew.
And I was like, and it was definitely weird. I showed my family this. They got triggered that I thought it was funny. I find it funny only in the sense that he thinks this is perfectly normal and there's nothing wrong with it. Me personally, if I was a woman, wouldn't Snapchat a man 60 years old. He shouldn't have that app in general.
I agree.
But
100%.
That's, I guess, what you do in Ohio.
How the cookie crumbles.
Yes. I was gonna play the next video, but it's 2 minutes and it's a little quiet. I don't want to just do strict videos. But I'll stop doing that now. Out of 10 though, on a cool guy scale, Miss Jenna Clarke, what would you rate him?
A 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
Okay, a little better than the first guy. I think the POV shot he did was excellent cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I did feel like I was under him. It made me uncomfortable.
Yes, and getting woken up to that. There've been a lot of memes created of that, and the first guy showed. But now this is the final section of the show. It is the personal section of the show. Like I mentioned earlier, you are a New Yorker, born and bred. You live there when you're obviously not in school. What was it like growing up there in New York, Yonkers, compared to today?
I had a good time. I really appreciate it. Like I still do appreciate how diverse my city is from. I never it was never like a culture shock for me going somewhere else and being like, oh my God, people other than white people exist. Like, no, that was a norm for me. There's people with like 2 moms, people with 2 dads, single parents. Like I was exposed to like any type of like family dynamic. So I feel like I'm very thankful for that. I had fun, I guess. It's not much to do. I guess it's the same for anywhere. Everyone's like, oh my God, my town's so boring. Any town is boring if you don't want to spend money. I guess I liked where I grew up.
Well, since you are, a New Yorker, there's been a lot of news involving your governor of New York, Mr. Andrew Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
What's your whole, as a female, what's your whole stance and like perspective on this whole thing that he's, having to deal with this whole thing?
Don't be a creep. Don't harass women. Don't touch women inappropriately. Like, it's not that serious. Like, leave people alone. Like, leave women alone. And if you don't, then you're going to face consequences.
And to think though, I don't know exactly when it was, year wise. I'm guessing it was when he was governor. But to go up and grab them by the face and say, "Can I kiss you?" is kind of weird.
No.
It's kind of weird and disgusting. And then the thing I hate, and I'm not saying I hate, people coming out and saying this. Yeah, they should definitely do it, if not even do it earlier. So it's not like, years later. But what I hate about the whole thing is, these generic responses that these people who have done this stuff, say, oh, I feel sorry and I should have done it. I know it's wrong and I need to reflect.
Then why'd you do it?
Yes. And it's like, what the fuck? And like, I'm not saying that because, I want to, make people feel like, I am all for women, which I am, but it's almost like, I think you cut people slack when they do this stuff and they say, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know what I was thinking. It was bad judgment on my part." I'm like, you don't think that because you thought at the time there's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
And it's just it's sad on top of him having to deal with the COVID pandemic and him lying about the number of deaths. For him
that was
for him
upsetting.
for him to think that he should stay as governor and not resign is
He's been so
ridiculous.
hated for the past year. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just in everyone's best interest for him to resign.
And I mean, even with with Richard Nixon as the president, even we committed that act, he knew the writing on the wall before he was going to be impeached. He knew his time was limited, so even he resigned. And he was able to redeem himself sort of near the end of his life in the 90s in terms of foreign policy with China, but I don't think Cuomo will ever be able to, redeem
He'll never
himself,
admit to his actions.
especially, during, well, even when I saw his, whole apology video, his conference about it, he was just like, I'm very sorry about doing this. And
It was just a speech he was given to say.
yeah, and it wasn't like there was no real emotion to it. And I feel as though, especially now in the PC cancel culture type of society where everyone, in the spotlight's gonna, having an extra lens on them, it's gonna be a hard time for him to, change, what he did. But let's fast forward a few years later after, being a young child growing up in New York. Now it's time to apply for colleges, and now you have applied and gone into URI. What made you want to go to URI, and what was so, eye-catching about this?
So I applied to a lot of colleges. I'm talking 21 colleges. Funny reason why I applied to URI. My friend Sam, she had toured it and she was like, "Oh my God, I love URI." I was like, "I don't know, sounds fun. Like, sounds like a fun school, sounds like a good school. They have a good nursing program. I'll apply." So I applied, and then I didn't tour until accepted students day, and I did, and I fell in love with it. Like, so close to the beach, it looked so much fun. Like, everyone just seemed to be having a great time, and I was stuck between URI and this school, well, Scranton actually, where our president is from. Between URI and Scranton, and end of the day, URI was bigger. They were the same price. That wasn't an issue. It just like I just felt more drawn to here.
Yeah.
URI is where I belong.
Looking back at it, soon going into your third year eventually, do you have any regrets, or do you have any things you change about coming here, or do you think that coming to URI was a great idea?
I don't think I would go anywhere else. Like, sometimes I'm like, I wish I went to like a party school,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, end of the day, like, that's not what's gonna matter. Like, I'm
Yeah.
having fun here. Do I wish I would have lived it up more if I knew COVID was gonna happen? Yeah. Like, just hang out with more people, make more friends, because like my friend made a good point the other day. They were like, well, we missed out on like the peak making friends part because we got sent home in March, and like the friends we had are the friends we were stuck with. Because
Yeah.
it's not like you could go out and make friends this year. So I think that's the only thing I would change. Just like kind of live my college life the best I could before things weren't normal.
Well, then eventually, after you got in, you came to URI and doing it. It was I would say probably late fall, early winter. You met a guy.
Early winter. Try second week of school.
Second. Well, I'm getting to the specific person. There's another person. Another person you met. Blonde hair, blue eye, man.
Oh,
yeah. Yes. But how do you remember meeting the host of the show? And you can be completely honest. I don't care.
Again, I actually met you the second week of school. The first time I met Michael was the first time I met you. Me and Michael were going on our first date. We were going to get awful waffles, and you popped out of your room and requested an awful waffle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I said, this guy seems a little out there, but he seems like my type of person. He seems fun.
Yeah,
and
no,
then I got to know you, and you just turned out to be this funny guy who's got a big heart.
Oh, thank you. Don't make me blush now. Come on. No. See, now that I think about that, it was that. No, yeah, that's how I definitely it was. I think at first though, for me, and obviously, time goes by fast, especially then when I was trying to get the fuck out of there with certain people that were living there. I definitely that I think though, yeah, I mean, if you could, for me though, if you could count that as the first time, I guess so, but I think the first time was really when you were starting to come around more to whatever the fuck the building is called, Burnside, and we'd have the Thundercunt Cafe and all that stuff, and that's when and then whenever Michael would go on an excursion, I'd hop along, and that was that, and I think that's when I really got to meet yourself, and I was like, you know what, this person's a pretty cool gal.
Thank you.
I think a lot of the time, you meet people, especially myself, when I feel comfortable with someone, I can completely open up and say whatever it was. Now, granted, I can admit sometimes I'll say stuff that could catch me in bad hot waters or whatever it may be, and I sometimes don't have a filter. Case in point, that this past school year with a certain other couple friends of ours that Michael is with. But I think, I after the first, few times hanging out, it definitely was, I feel comfortable. I don't have to, be on my toes worrying if I'm going to offend them and they don't, want to see me ever again. But I think it was definitely that I was like, okay, I get this. I forget, there was something that stuck out to me, that first day when you guys came back with the awful awfuls that I said. I can't remember what it was, but there's something that I think that both you and Michael left. I can't remember, but there was something that I'll have to think about later. But I think I'm trying to think of one of the funnier moments that we've had together. I think definitely the situation with Zach Taylor and both of you two and Gavin, when you were trying to hear the conversation that I was having with them, and you guys were in your room with the lights off, all trying to listen on. I think definitely when, I was so lucky to be invited to that trip to New York City, and we went there and I met your wonderful mother and grandmother and your brother, and we went to the city and took the train, almost jumped off onto the rails a few times, and we met those ladies, and went to the M&M store. The guy,
I forgot about them. Yeah.
The guy that took 1,000 photos of me with one of the M&Ms at the M&M store. But I'm trying to think of, well, I think also though, for yourself though, being completely honest, I think, I'm not some professional comedian or anything like that. I mean, that'd be fun, don't get me wrong, but I think I definitely am able to work on a lot of, material off the top of my head. And, with yourself, which I enjoy greatly, is that most people, they pussyfoot around and, they say this and that just to make someone feel better. But you have the ability, which I hold near and dear to myself, is, ground the person down right to the bottom level, in the sense that, if you don't like it, you're going to say something about it, you're going to give a face, and that means, oh, that didn't work, I shouldn't say that again. So it's the ability to, really.
I appreciate you saying that, because sometimes I feel like I'm being too honest with people.
Oh, no.
The point of being mean.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's everything I say is
yes.
people I love. And I got to tell people the truth, because I don't want them making a fool out of themselves.
Oh, no, yes. And there's definitely people that are out there and are too honest, and it can be, hurtful or, aggressive. But I think there's definitely fun times. I definitely have slipped up a handful of times around you, and that's definitely entertaining. I think we've shared many times of going to Cumberland Farms with Michael, and I think what else. You weren't there for one time when I was driving Michael around, and I almost got into a few car accidents, and we busted a party in a parking lot at Barrington High School one time.
I was there.
You were?
I was there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we all stayed at Natalie's, and I left the door open accidentally. That was one of the funnier moments when we left Taco Bell and we drove to that parking lot, and I started blasting, and I dropped a few curse words, and then I almost swerved, and then
they don't remember.
Yes, then somehow I don't remember, but I guess I left the front door open when I left at 6 a.m. wide awake. But that's definitely, or another one before I forget. I keep awkwardly saying this stuff, but I think one of the greatest ones we've ever had with Michael and yourself is when we went to eat. When me and Michael arrived, we went to that diner, and it was the Greek guy who owned it.
Like those are the blind for the
yes.
lady.
Now I have long hair. I've been growing it out, not consecutively for the last 2 years, whatever it was, but I grew it out. And at that point, my hair was pretty long. It was nearly almost to my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And my guess, now, I don't know many women, maybe straight women, grow facial hair. Now, mine's not the best. I'm not Italian, so it doesn't come in fully, or anyone else. It comes in patchy. I don't know how that looks like I'm a woman. I'm a woman.
He was an old man.
Yes, but the man was probably in his 70s or 80s, and he comes over and I put the blinds down for you and the woman, and he looks at me and he's like, and he thinks, and he automatically backtracks and walk away. And that was, although I took offense to it a little bit, I thought it was the funniest thing ever, because never have I been confused with looking like a woman. But hey,
First time for everything.
if someone's gonna do a favor like that for me for free, then I'll pull a Caitlyn Jenner whenever. That was definitely great. I think, like I said, definitely the Thunder Cafe at Burnside was some great memories. I think, I'm not a morning person, as I know you were aware of that, and I think when I woke up, that was a lot of fun times. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm thankful that happened, although it was short lived. It was definitely
it was a good time.
Definitely eventful. It was not as eventful, like I said, with Zach Taylor, and like I mentioned before, with your straightforwardness. You were a big support of my cause, and I think definitely other instances where I've voiced my frustration about certain people, you've definitely have luckily taken my side on many things, and you don't have to. And
I hate to cut you short. I'm so sorry, but I really have to be on another Zoom in 5 minutes.
Okay. So well, that's what it is. I'll end with we can always do a part 2 later down the road. When Michael maybe comes on again at some point.
We'll have a double whammy.
Double whammy. Let's see. What else do I? I'll do a quick question. Who's got the better house, you or Michael?
I guess me. It's a little bigger.
How do you properly function and live each day with 5 girls off campus as a college student?
We all just kind of do our own thing, and then we all just get together at the end of the day and recap and chill.
Well, although we had to cut this quite short, not quite short, but short. I want to thank you, though, sincerity, with the deepest part. And I'll read my little, thing. Well, Jenna, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show today. It means a great deal. It seriously, and I don't say this enough to certain people, but it sincerely means the deepest from the deepest parts of my heart that for you to come on the show. It means a lot that you take the time out of your busy day and week and life to, do this for me exactly right away and say, yep, I'll definitely do that, of course. And it speaks to the volumes of the type of person you are to, do this for someone. Because, you don't have to, no one has to do it, but, you do. And that means a great deal. Though, it, and Michael knows it, I have, appreciation, and admiration I have for you, as well as that most gratitude I have for you, as you have, had back for me from day one. You're one of the few who isn't afraid to say the bad stuff to me when others won't do it. And, I hold our friendship in high regard, and I, can't begin to thank you for what you've done for me since we've met. Here's, to many more memories. And before we end our time together this week, for those viewing and listening audience at home at work, so, those, pay attention. If you like what you experienced this week, it's great stuff, by the way. I think Jenna could agree. She's seen a few episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, follow the podcast, smash that like button, and click that bell notification so you're notified when new episodes like this one drop on a Thursday or Friday. And finally, click that arrow button so you can share with your loved ones and show that brings it to them so they know what the fuck is going on. From all of us here at TM Studios, here at Jenna, and our guest this week, Jenna Clarke, this is No Dog signing off for this week's edition of the show. In the words of Johnny Carson, one of my idols, I bid you all heartfelt good night. And until next week, good night, everybody.